So I've been working third shift full-time at my local gas station for almost 5 years. And personally, I prefer it that way. I am not a morning person. In the past, I've barely been a daytime person. For me, the nocturnal lifestyle is more ideal. I thrive in the night. That being said, however, being a full-time third shifter has not been without its fair share of challenges. In the beginning, for the first year that I was working at this gas station, the sun was obnoxious. It wouldn't matter how many hours I pulled that night, or how hard I had worked during my shift, or how exhausted I was by the time I got home. If the sun was out, it was keeping me up. And I know what you're probably going to say, because it's the same advice that others have recommended to me in the past. Why don't you just buy blackout curtains? Why don't you just get one of those masks that'll cover up your eyes? Here's the thing. 1, I live in an apartment, and my complex has rules about what kind of curtains we can and can't have in our unit. 2, I have cats. Cats that I know will wind up messing up those curtains, because it's already a struggle to keep them from messing up my blinds. And for another thing, I've tried those sleep masks. I've bought the comfiest, most blackoutiest sleep mask that I could find, and I found out very quickly that I can't sleep with anything on my face. On the plus side, this problem only lasted for like a year, and now my body associates daylight with sleep time. Most of the time. I still struggle on some days, especially during the summer where the heat and humidity become just as big of an op to me as the light does. Unfortunately, though, the struggles don't end there. Hell no. This is just the sunlit tip of the iceberg, if you will. You see, I am a walking contradiction, because I enjoy living a nocturnal life and am most productive during the night. And yet, I love the sun. My favorite thing, weather permitting, is to spread out a blanket or a towel on a patch of grass in the sunshine and sunbathe. I like to go on walks when it's sunny out. I found that I even sleep better on those days. Like, how is that? Can somebody who's a doctor or a scientist explain this to me? Because it makes no sense to me. The next struggle is just being a functional adult in general, really. Because ever since 2020, our society has stopped catering to third shift entirely. It used to be that I could make a grocery run at 3 a.m. on one of my nights off if I wanted to. Now, I either have to do it before the stores close at midnight, or I have to wait until they open at 6 a.m. This is just a minor thing, but hey Walmart, Myers, the pandemic panic is over. Make your stores 24 hours again. You greedy sons of bitches. Similarly, any sort of appointments that I need to make, or events that I want or need to attend, have to be coordinated around my sleep schedule. If I need to make an appointment, it either has to be scheduled for first thing in the morning while I'm still awake, or sometime mid to late afternoon so I can at least get a few hours of sleep in advance. Same with any events that I absolutely have to be there for, which is rare, with one exception. Work meetings. Every month, my store has an employee meeting. These meetings are mandatory. Nobody's allowed to skip them or just get a quick briefing on them unless it's absolutely necessary, and third shift is no exception. Sometimes these meetings are held at 11 a.m., sometimes they're at 2 p.m., which in the grand scheme of things is fine. One just means that I'll be going to bed late, and the other one means that I have to go to bed as soon as I get home and set an alarm so I can at least get a little bit of sleep in. This is something that my boss and I have talked about. Really, there is no universal time that we can choose from that's going to be convenient for everybody. So third shift just has to take the L and mess up their sleep schedule. Which would be fine if our meetings were not just the exact same thing every single time. Which is mainly just the boss lecturing us over the things that aren't getting done, and which shifts are picking up the most slack over the others. Which, in my case, it's third shift. Finding the time to do housework and chores is also a bit of a struggle. Like I said, I live in an apartment, so not only do I have to share a laundry unit and find a way to fit my loads in between those of my fellow tenants, but the laundry room has hours dictating when we can and cannot do our laundry. 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Sure, not everybody abides by it, but I do because I don't want to be that guy. Likewise, we also have a noise curfew that's in effect from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., which conveniently is usually when I'm at work, so I don't gotta worry about it. Unless it's one of my days off. And again, I don't want to be that jerk that's trying to vacuum, or do dishes, or straighten things up while everyone else is trying to sleep. So it keeps on getting put off until I am physically, mentally, and emotionally unable to ignore it anymore. The only exception that I make is if I know there's a unit inspection coming up. If there's a unit inspection coming up, then whatever free time I have goes into cleaning. Back on the topic of things that have kept me up in the past, property maintenance. Again, the rest of the world does not stop so that third shift can get their beauty sleep. During my second and third year working thirds specifically, I would be kept up by the things that my maintenance guys were up to during the day. Lawnmowers, chainsaws, weed whackers, loud conversations being yelled to each other, and I'd just have to lay there in my bed and grit my teeth because they gotta do their jobs too. Now I know what you might be thinking. Why don't you just use earplugs or noise-canceling headphones? The same reason as to why I can't sleep with a blindfold on. I found out I can't sleep with anything on my head or plugging my ears. Believe me, I've tried. I toss and turn in my sleep anyways, so headphones just kinda get in the way and keep me up anyways. In recent years, I've gotten a lot better about being able to sleep through my maintenance guy's activities, but that was quickly replaced by another dilemma. The neighbor kids. I have no idea how many times I've been woken up in the middle of the day by some child screaming, yelling, just a hooting and a hollering, crying, laughing, toys clattering up and down the sidewalks. But I'll tell you what, I've almost lost my shit on them several times. And it's during those times where I force myself to slow down and have a serious conversation with myself. 1, they're not my kids. It's not my place to correct their behavior. 2, they're doing outside things, and they are indeed outside. It's not their fault that the walls aren't thick enough to block out the sound. 3, it's not like they're getting the same childhood that I got. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a 2-story farmhouse on a decent-sized plot of land out in the country where we all had a bit more privacy. These kids aren't getting that. They're living in an income-based apartment with a tiny patch of grass for a front lawn and whatever portion of sidewalk is available to them. And they're having the time of their lives with it. And 4, I'm the third shifter here. I'm the odd one out. So I just have to grit my teeth, take some deep breaths, and wait until it's their supper time. Bad weather and cold temperatures are a blessing though, because if it doesn't keep their butts inside, then it limits the amount of time that they spend outside, and I can actually freaking sleep. Considering most of this video has just been about me struggling to get an adequate amount of sleep, I think it's fair to say that I have absolutely no social life. I haven't had anything close to resembling a social life since 2019. The most social interaction that I get on any given day comes from the customers that I interact with on a nightly basis and my coworkers. And here I am wondering why I'm single. Between work and YouTube, so basically work, I never go out. I've never been to a bar or the club. I don't know how that works. At this point, the only way I'm going to be able to get out is if someone catches me on one of my nights off and kidnaps my ass. Not to mention, my diet as a third shifter isn't exactly the healthiest. There is no breakfast, lunch, or dinner for us. There is simply meal 1, meal 2, and meal 3, And the less prep time that there is, the more convenient it is for me. So it's mostly just bowls of cereal, sandwiches, and whatever gas station food looks good on the nights that I work. It's mostly just Little Debbie's donuts and grab-and-go Subway sandwiches. And Alani. Lots and lots of Alani. I have roughly 2 to 3 cans per night, so if you guys just so happen to hear that I died from a heart attack, that's why. That's why. Anyways, that's basically my life riding on the struggle bus that is working third shift full time. That'll be all for this video, you guys. Thank you for watching. It's been a while since I dived into something that was IRL related that could be considered relatable, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. As anyways, let me know what you thought about this video down in the comment section below, as well as any topics that you'd like to see me cover in a future video. My name is BlueRaven666, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!